to find the composition and amount of phases that is present in a phase mixture. Okay, so I will continue with that only, because that is the most important part. You are supposed to know how to calculate the composition and amount of phases present in a phase mixture. Okay, so let me see. Yes, still 9 is there only. So we will wait for 2 to 3 minutes, then we will start. Okay. Yes, Ashwin is there. Ashwin Kumar Maurya. Yes, Ashwin. Okay. Alistair. Alistair Ryan. Alistair Ryan. Can you hear me? Oh, maybe he's not able to hear me. Anyway.
Sir, did you call me?
No, Rohit. I called Alistair.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay. So as of now, 22 is there. So it's already 11:17. So I think I should start. And please, Duleswar, you are the CR, na? Who is the CR? Rohit is the CR, na?
Rohit, sir.
Rohit,
Yes, sir.
inform your batchmate, then they are supposed to attend the class on time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we will start. So let me open this PPT.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, I think we should start. 27 is already there. So I will start. Okay, can you see the screen? All of you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, so in the last class, we are discussing about how to find the composition and the amount of phases. So that is very simple, because we are discussing the same things by the time we have started our isomorphous phase diagram. Then we have discussed the same thing in eutectic, and again the same thing I am going to discuss over here also, so that you can have some good control over this concept. Okay, so as we have told, as we have discussed, that in order to find the composition, we make use of tie line, and in order to find the amount of phases, we make use of lever rule. Okay, so this parts think I have discussed. So let me move to the another part. The peritectic we have discussed. Then let me move to this. Yes, now this is the eutectic point. So here you can see that in the iron carbon diagram, I have done only the part of a diagram. Okay, so here you are having gamma. Okay, so just let me write here. So here we are having gamma. I haven't written. gamma is here, delta is here, delta plus liquid is here. Yes, what will be this phase? Yes, any one of you?
Gamma plus liquid, sir.
Gamma plus liquid, correct. So here will be have gamma plus liquid. Okay, and we are supposed to find out the eutectic point. So this is our eutectic point. So the composition of the alloy, iron carbon alloy that we take at the eutectic point will have 4.3 weight% carbon. Now the reaction that is going to take place at the eutectic point, you know that liquid is going to transform into gamma plus Fe3C. So I have written over here at the eutectic point, liquid is going to austenite plus Fe3C. Now, what about the composition of phases present at this point? At this point, I have written this reaction. Liquid is going under austenite plus Fe3C. But here, as you can see this point, okay, if you talk about the liquid, so liquid is a single phase. Whatever be the initial concentration of alloy or initial composition of alloy, the same amount of carbon will be present in the liquid phase. Okay, because liquid is a single phase. Okay, so all the carbon that is we have taken in the initial alloy and heated it up so that it can become a liquid. So all the carbon will present in the liquid state. So you can see here I have written the composition of liquid as 4.3% carbon. Now at this point also, because we know that at this point three phases are in equilibrium, so we have already find out the composition of liquid, that is nothing but 4.3% carbon. Now the question comes, what is the composition of austenite? So at this point you move left and see where this point is going to strike the austenite boundary. So if you move like this, so you'll find that this line is going to intersect this austenite boundary at this point. Now when you come downward, so you can see that the composition is 2.1%. So that is what I have written over here, that the composition of austenite is 2.1%. Okay. Similarly, what is the composition of Fe3C? So you just move along this. So this line like this, and this axis represents the Fe3C. So here when you come downward, you can see that the composition of carbon or composition of this Fe3C is 6.6% carbon. Yes, any doubt so far?
So
Yes, anybody is having any doubt? Shall I move forward?
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now we have find out the composition at the eutectic point. Now the next things we are going to do is how to find the amount of phases. So in order to find the amount of phases, I am discussing again and again. In order to find the amount of phases, we are going to use lever rule, the same lever rule. So amount of phases or fraction of phases is given by lever rule. So we have already discussed this again and again, lever rule. Okay, so at this point we know that we are having gamma plus Fe3C. Now suppose you have to find out amount of gamma at this point. Okay, you have to find out the amount of gamma at this point. So this is nothing but gamma R, or you can say gamma R, this is, and this is Fe3CR. This is Fe3CR. Fe3CR. Now you have to find out the amount of gamma phase at this point. So what you will do? You will take Fe3CR divide by total arm. So this is the total arm. This is the total arm. This is the total R. So first see how to find the fraction of gamma phase. So fraction of gamma phase is given by opposite arm. So opposite arm is nothing but Fe3CR. So this, what will be this distance? Yes, anybody? This distance? Fe3CR is equal to?
6.67 minus 4.3.
Correct. So this distance is nothing but this distance, that is 6.67 minus this distance. Okay, so that in that way you can calculate the Fe3CR, and that is nothing but 6.67 minus 4.3 divided by total arm. So this is the total arm from here to here. So total arm is given by 6.67 this distance minus this distance. So total arm will be equal to 6.67 total minus this, and this is nothing but 2.1. So you can see here I have written the same thing over here, 6.67 minus 2.1. So in this way you can calculate this fraction will come 0.5197. When you multiply with 100, it will convert into percentage. So 51.97% of gamma will be there at this point. So the Fe3C fraction you can just calculate by subtracting 100 minus this. So that will be equal to Fe3C fraction. But let's us calculate this. So fraction of Fe3C is given by opposite arm, that is gamma arm, divided by total arm. So this is nothing but our gamma arm. This is our gamma arm. So this is not. So this distance will be equal to this distance minus this distance. So that is 4.3 minus 2.1 divided by total arm, and total arm is nothing but this one. So this is the total arm we have calculated. So that is nothing but 6.67 minus 2.1. So similarly you can calculate that fraction of Fe3C will be 48.03%. I hope the things are clear to you. If you have any doubt at any point, you can ask. Okay. So this is how we calculate the composition and fraction of phases in a given phase mixture. Okay, so as of now we have discussed the composition and amount of phases that is present at peritectic point. At this point we have seen in the last class, and at this point we have seen in today's class. Now we are going to look into this point. What is this point is known as? Anybody can tell? What is this point? Yes, what is this point? Anybody? I have not drawn the full diagram, but still, if you have studied the ceramic carbon diagram carefully, then you can tell what this point is. Yes, speak.
Point.
Correct. This is nothing but eutectoid point. Okay, so this is our eutectoid point. So this is our eutectoid point. So next we are going to look into how to find the composition and amount of phases at this point, at this eutectoid point. So let us go to the another PPT. Okay, so here you can see I have drawn this eutectoid point over here. Now the reaction that takes place at this eutectoid point is gamma, one solid is going to convert into two solids. So here alpha will be one solid and Fe3C is another solid. So the eutectoid reaction is nothing but gamma is going to convert into alpha plus Fe3C. Yes, what this mixture of alpha and Fe3C is known as? Yes, mixture of alpha and Fe3C is perlite. Correct. Good. Okay, so we have seen that this reaction is going to take place at this particular point. Now again the question is, what is the composition of various phases that is present at this point? Okay, so the phases present at this point is gamma, alpha, Fe3C. Now if I have taken 0.8% carbon in iron, so that only will goes under eutectic. that only will going to pass through this eutectoid point. So when you take 0.8% carbon in any alloy or in iron carbon alloy, if you're going to take 0.8% carbon, and if you're going to heat it above this point, gamma will reach. Okay, so it will reach into gamma phase. So what is the composition of gamma? All the carbon that is present over here will be available in the gamma, because gamma is a single phase. Okay, so whatever be the carbon present in the initial alloy will be present in the gamma. So you can see here the composition of gamma is nothing but 0.8% carbon. So whatever be the carbon that is present in the initial alloy, when you heat it up, and by the time it is going to reach it over here, so as you can see here, everything is gamma only, no other phases is present over here. So whatever be the carbon is present in the initial alloy will also be present in the gamma phase. So that's why I have written here that gamma has the composition of 0.8% carbon. Now the next question is, what is the composition of alpha and what is the composition of Fe3C? So here you can see at this point, in order to find the composition of alpha, you move like this, and by the time it intersects this alpha boundary. So here we get the alpha boundary. This is the alpha boundary. And when you draw a line like this, it will intersect at this point over alpha boundary. And when you move downward, so it will be 0.02. So this point you already know. In the iron carbon diagram, this point is nothing but 2.8% carbon. So you can see here for the alpha, I have written the composition as 0.02% carbon. Similarly, in order to find out the composition of Fe3C, you move like this. So here it is going to strike the Fe3C boundary. So this is nothing but the Fe3. All this axis is the Fe3C boundary. So you be moved like this. The moment it is strike the Fe3C line, come downward. So you can see that 6.67% of carbon will be there in this Fe3C solid. Okay. What is the another name of this Fe3C? Yes. Another name of this Fe3C?
Cementite.
Correct. Good. So another name is cementite. Cementite. Good. Please mute yourself. All of you, please mute yourself. Okay. Now we come to we are supposed to find out the amount of phases that is present at this point. So at this point we are having alpha and we are having Fe3C. So we are having alpha and we are having Fe3C. So in order to find out the amount of alpha and amount of Fe3C, okay, so same way, this is the alpha arm, this is the alpha arm, and this is the Fe3C arm. Fe3C arm from here to here. Okay. Now similarly, we are going to find out the fraction of alpha. Fraction of alpha will be given by Fe3C arm divided by total arm, and this is our Fe3C arm. So this distance will be equal to how much? Yes, Rohit, GVS Rohit, tell me. This distance will be equal to?
Which one, sir?
This distance from here to here. From this point to this point, this distance is equal to?
So it will be alpha plus Fe3C.
No, from here to here, you just tell me in terms of composition. From this point to this point, what will be the distance? Look, this is 0 and this is 6.67. So
Yes,
this
sir.
distance is 6.67. When you subtract this distance, this much from total, you can get this one. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me. what will be this distance? So from here to here, this is 6.67. From
Yes,
here
sir.
to here, this is 6.67. And from here to here, it is 0.8. You can see from here to here, this is 0.8. Now, what will be this?
Sir,
What will be this distance?
5.87. 5.87.
It means 6.67 minus 0.8, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, correct. So this is way, because we are supposed to find this arm. So this arm is nothing but this distance minus this distance. So that will give you the Fe3C arm. And you can see here 6.67 minus 0.8. Divide by total arm. So total arm is nothing but from this point to this point. So this is our total arm. This is our total arm. Let me write this with TA. Okay, so this total arm is nothing but 6.67 minus 0.02, because this distance, total distance minus this distance will give you the total arm, and that is nothing but 6.67 minus 0.02. When you calculate this, solve this, so it will come 0.88. Multiply with 100, you will get 88% of alpha will be there at this point. Similarly, in order to find out the fraction of Fe3C phase, you can simply subtract 88 from 100, you will get 12%. Okay, and also you can calculate also, because Fe3C fraction is given by alpha arm divided by total arm, and this alpha arm is this one. This one is our alpha arm, and this is nothing but 0.8 minus 0.02. So I have written 0.8 minus 0.02. Divide by total arm, the same total arm it is present over here. So the same things I have written over here also. So it will come to 0.12, and that is nothing but 12%. So this is how we are going to calculate the composition and amount of phases at a given set of conditions. At any point, not only these 3 points that we have discussed so far, we can calculate the fractions present and the composition at any given point in the iron carbon diagram. Okay, so we have seen for 3 points, that is eutectoid point, peritectic point, and the eutectic point. So let me see. Okay. So this is already done. Yes, during eutectoid reaction, I have told you gamma is going to give alpha plus Fe3C. Gamma is going to give alpha plus Fe3C. Gamma is going to give alpha plus Fe3C, and this mixture is known as perlite. You already know these things. Okay, so when you are going to see this perlite under microscope, so you are going to find out this image. So this is the microstructure of perlite that is looked under optical microscope. So here you can see this white region is nothing but alpha ferrite. This white region is nothing but alpha ferrite, and this black region is the Fe3C or cementite. So alternate layer of alpha and Fe3C is present throughout the mixture when you are going to cool a eutectoid alloy. So when you take a eutectoid alloy consisting of 0.8% carbon, and when you heat it up in the gamma region and cool it, so when you cool it, the gamma will give you alpha plus Fe3C. Now this is the way the alpha and Fe3C looks like under an optical microscope. Now, I have already told you the thickness of this alpha. You can see here the weight percent of these phase are 8:1, means 8:1 means the ratio of phases of these two mixture, that is alpha and Fe3C, is in 8:1, means amount of alpha is 8 times greater than the amount of Fe3C. Now you can also see the same thing over here. The thickness of this alpha phase, this thickness of this alpha phase is 8 times the thickness of this Fe3C phase. This is how the ratio of these two phases are in the 8:1 ratio. So I have already discussed these things. Okay, so let me read it out once. So during cooling, austenite of 0.8% carbon at constant eutectoid temperature, that is nothing but 723 degrees Celsius, undergo eutectoid transformation to form a mixture of ferrite consisting of 0.02% carbon and cementite. There are alternate lamella. So this is known as lamella. So there are alternate lamella of ferrite and cementite. So you can see here there are alternate lamella. This is Fe3C, then alpha, then Fe3C, then alpha. So this perlite will consist of alternate lamellae of alpha and Fe3C in the final mixture. This eutectide mixture of ferrite and cementite is called perlite. We already discussed many times because of its pearly appearance. So this appearance looks like pearl under optical microscope. That's why this mixture is known as perlite. Again, the weight percentage of these phases are in the ratio 8:1. Okay, so you can see from here also. Let me show you. This is the eutectoid. Yes, yeah, correct. So you can see the near about the ratio of alpha, and if you find out the ratio of alpha and Fe3C, so it will be near about 8%. So you can see here 88% is there. So 88 weight percent of alpha will be there. Divide by 12. So it will come into 7.3. So it will be near about 8%. Okay. So that's why it is written over here that the thickness of this alpha will be 8 times in comparison to that of Fe3C. So if you are having 0.8% carbon, then you heat it up to the gamma region. Suppose you have heated to the gamma region, so there will be gamma boundary only. So everywhere gamma will be there. And when you cool it below this point, what will happen? This gamma will transform to alpha and Fe3C, and it will look like this. And it will look like this. So this white region is represent the ferrite, and this black line represent the alpha Fe3C. Okay, and the thickness of this line, the thickness of this white, this distance upon the thickness of this line is nothing but 8:1. So this is what I mean to say. Okay, so any doubt so far? If anybody is having any doubt, please ask.
No, sir.
Okay. So here, up to here I have done. So thus ferrite lamella is 8 times thicker than cementite lamella. So this line is known as the lamella. Okay. And this lamella of ferrite is 8 times thicker than the lamella of this Fe3C. Okay. So thus ferrite lamella is 8 times thicker than the cementite lamella. As the two boundaries of cementite plates are close together, they may not resolve separately under the microscope. So instead of two lines, it appears as a single dark line. Okay. So I hope the things are clear to you. Okay. So let me go to the next topic. Yes, the next topic is very, very important, and that is the microstructure development in iron carbide phase diagram. So now we are going to look into microstructure development in iron carbide phase diagram. So today I will give you just a very idea of how this happens, and in the next class we will look into the very detail about this. Okay, so in today's class, rather than using this PPT, I am just trying to make you understand using the blank slide so that you can get the idea. Then once you will get the idea, I will discuss these things in very detail. Okay. So let me take a blank slide. Now in materials, this microstructure is going to play a very, very important role. So by changing the microstructure of any material, you can change the properties of the material. So by changing the microstructure, you can change the properties of the material, and you can easily have control over microstructure. Okay, you can easily change the microstructure of this iron carbon alloy, that is steel, and by changing the microstructure you can change the properties of the steel. That's what the industry people do. Just by varying the percentage of carbon and by varying the heating and cooling rate, they are supposed to get different microstructure, and in that way they comes around very thousands grades of steel. We know that we are having low carbon steel that we use in the structural application. We are having medium carbon steel that we use for the railway lines. The same iron carbon alloy is the stainless steel. You have seen that stainless steel, the property of stainless steel, it never going to have stains on it. Okay, it's always having a shiny appearance. Okay, so just by controlling the percentage of carbon and by giving different treatment, heat treatment, we can have different microstructure of steel, and that is going to vary the properties of the steel. So if you know that the stainless steel, the property of stainless steel, yes, anybody can tell what is the main properties of this stainless steel? Yes, what is the main property? Why we use stainless steel? Yes, anybody is having any idea?
It does not rust easily.
Yeah, it doesn't get rust. Okay, why? Because it contains iron, carbon, and along with it, it is having chromium. So just by adding some external element in the iron carbon system, you can see you can make stainless steel, and that doesn't going to rust. Okay, so and so number of steel is there. So if you have seen that crane, so the this crane hook that is made up of the Hatfield steel, that steel is also a very special type of steel. So similarly we are having 1,000 grades of steels we are using for different applications. So how we are getting every steel is dependent upon this iron and carbon diagram only, and some more diagrams is there that we will study in the module 3. Okay, so what I mean to say is we can have control over microstructure, and by controlling this microstructure we can actually control the properties of any steel material. So that is the very idea of this iron carbon diagram and the heat treatment that we are going to study in the next module. Okay, so we have entire control over this material. Microstructural development in iron carbon system or iron carbide system. Iron carbide system. Or phase diagram. You can write phase diagram also. So now we are going to discuss about this microstructural development in iron carbide system. So you all know how to draw this iron carbon diagram. It is very simple. I have told you many times. So this is the way you can draw this iron carbon diagram. Okay, so this is what is the iron carbon diagram is. Okay, so now first we will take different compositions of iron carbon alloy and we will see how the microstructural development takes place in that different regions. So here we are having this temperature, here we are having this temperature, and here we are having this. Here we are having total 100% iron, and here we are having this 6.67% carbon, and here we are having 0% carbon. So this is the axis represent the weight percentage of carbon. Weight percentage of carbon is varying in this direction. Okay, and this is our alpha, this is our gamma, this is our delta, this is our liquid. Here we are having delta plus liquid. So just practice this diagram. So this diagram you can only draw by the practice, because you are supposed to take care of each and every compositions. Okay, so while drawing this iron carbon diagram, you are supposed to take care of all these compositions. Okay, so gamma is there, so gamma plus liquid will be here. Here we are having liquid plus Fe3C. Here we are having gamma plus Fe3C. And here we are having alpha plus Fe3C. And this is the alpha plus gamma. This is our alpha plus gamma. This is our alpha plus gamma. Okay. This line is 1147. This line is 1147 degrees Celsius. This line is 727 or 723. 723 or 727 degree Celsius. Yes, tell me, above what temperature this alpha iron becomes non-magnetic? Yes, alpha iron becomes non-magnetic above what temperature? What is the Curie temperature is known as? 768 degrees Celsius. Okay, so above that, this alpha iron will become non-magnetic. So you should remember these things. Okay, and this line. So we are having three horizontal lines. So you just see here. This is the one horizontal line along which eutectoid reaction takes place. Another horizontal line along which eutectic reaction takes place, and another horizontal line along which peritectic reaction takes place. So in iron carbon system, altogether we are having three horizontal line. One is for eutectoid reaction, another is for eutectic reaction, and the third one is for peritectic reaction. So the eutectoid reaction temperature is 723 degrees Celsius, and this eutectic temperature is 1147 degrees Celsius, and this peritectic, anybody can tell what is this temperature? at which this peritectic reaction takes place?
490 degrees Celsius.
1495 degrees Celsius. 1495 degrees Celsius. Correct. Okay. So what is the meaning of microstructural development is this. Suppose I have given you that we are having an iron with 0.4% carbon. Iron, alloy of iron and carbon with 0.4% carbon. So if there is 0.4% carbon, the rest will be iron. So altogether this is the alloy, iron with carbon. This means that it will consist of 0.4% carbon and the rest will be iron only. So this is the alloy, suppose I have taken. Now I ask you to heat this alloy to the single phase region. So I ask you to heat this alloy. So first you are supposed to locate this point in this iron carbon diagram. So you know that this is 0.8. So 0.4 something lying in between these 2 points. So suppose this is our this alloy. Okay, so this is our alloy which is having C0 initial concentration of 0.4% carbon. So now you have spotted the initial concentration of alloy. Now I ask you to heat this alloy, raise the temperature until it reaches the single phase region. Now you can see here, by the time this going to cross this line, heat it, by the time it is going to reach this line and above it will come into a single phase region, and that is nothing but gamma. So you heated it up and reached to the single phase region. Now I ask you to cool it. Now I ask you to cool it very, very slowly. Now again I am saying that in iron carbon system, this is nothing but iron carbide equilibrium phase diagram. By the time I am saying is equilibrium phase diagram. So whenever I ask you to cool the alloy, you are supposed to understand that the alloy is cooled very, very slowly. Then only equilibrium will be maintained. So this is the drawback of the iron carbon diagram. Here we are only getting the required microstructure that we have plotted here only upon very, very slow cooling. That's why this diagram is also known as iron carbon equilibrium phase diagram. Means we are going to cool all this alloy very, very slowly. Okay. Now, so you have this alloy with you. You have heated this alloy to a single phase region, and then I ask you to cool it very, very slowly, equilibrium cooling. And now tell me what are the microstructure present at different region. Okay, so the first thing, so whenever you are going to heat it above this point, everything will be gamma. So this alloy, if you're going to heat it above this point, so everything will be gamma. So you can see everything will be gamma. No other thing will be there because this is a single phase region. By the time you are going to move above this point, it will be gamma only. So you can see here I have plotted only gamma. So this is the point. So suppose you have heated up to this point. So this will be the microstructure of alloy at this point. Now I ask you to cool this. You are cooling it, and by the time you are going to reach this point, alpha will start appearing. So you can see that what will happen by the time you cool it and reach this point, what will happen? Alpha will start appearing because at this point we are having alpha plus gamma also. So alpha will start appearing in this microstructure. But the question is where this alpha will come. So the alpha will come along this grain boundary. So this is the grain, and this is lines are the grain boundaries. So alpha is going to start appearing only at the grain boundaries. So if I ask you what is the composition, what is the microstructure over here at this point, so it will be like this. So gamma will be there. So gamma will be there. and let me show with another color. And you can see here at the grain boundary we are having, sorry, just want to remove it. Okay, yes, done. So alpha will start appearing. Where will alpha will come? I don't know whether you are able to see it or not. Let me use another color. Yes, so at the grain boundary, this alpha will start coming. So you can see every grain boundary, this alpha will come out. Why? Because you cooled below this temperature. So alpha will come out along the grain boundary. So at this point, the alpha will appear. Now if you further cool from this point to this point, what will happen? Amount of alpha will increase. From this point to this point, what will happen? So at this point, what will happen? You can see, let me use black color. So at this point, we are having this. Now, when you cool further from this point to this point, say, so again, we are having gamma like this. And this alpha will grow. So this is the way the alpha will grow. Entire boundary, this is will consist of alpha now. This is the alpha at the boundary, and inside this is gamma. So this will grow and it will take all the boundaries. So this is the way the alpha will grow when you cool it further. So you can see here at this point we are having a small alpha nucleating at the gamma boundary. When you cool it further, you can see that amount of alpha will increase. By using lever rule, you can see that at this point amount of alpha is more as compared to this point. So at this point, this alpha will grow at the entire grain boundary like this. Okay. Now the question is, when you are going to cool this alloy that we have taken below this line, below this eutectoid line, when you are going to cool it, what will happen? Suppose you have cooled this alloy to this point. At this point, we are having this microstructure, and now you are cooling this alloy from this point to this point. Now what will happen? So alpha that is already formed is not going to transform, because you can see that the temperature up to which this alpha phase is stable is from room temperature to up to 912. Okay, this alpha is stable. So here, whatever be the alpha is formed, it is not going to transform to any other things. It will remain as such. Why? At this temperature also, the alpha is stable phase. So you can see here, this alpha is stable at this point also. So whatever be the alpha is present, it is not going to change. But gamma is not going to be stable below this line. You can see this is the maximum point at up to which this gamma can be stable. When you are going to cool this alloy having gamma below this point, what will happen? This gamma is going to convert into alpha plus Fe3C, because you know, when we are going to cool gamma below this point, because of this eutectoid reaction, gamma will be converted into alpha and Fe3C. So this alpha will remain as such, and at this point what will happen? This alpha will remain as such. So let me take another color, black color. So this is our gamma. Just a minute. Okay, so here we are having our, this is our alpha that is formed above this temperature. So this is the alpha that is formed above this temperature. Okay, so this alpha is this one. Now what will happen when you cool this gamma alloy below this line? What will happen? All the gamma is going to convert into alpha plus Fe3C. Now it will look like this. When all this gamma, because this is the gamma, here we are having gamma. So all this gamma is going to convert into alpha and Fe3C. So like this. Here we are having alternate lamella of gamma alpha plus Fe3C. So all this gamma, wherever the gamma is present, all this gamma is going to convert into alpha and Fe3C. So this gamma is transformed to alpha and Fe3C. So this region is known as perlite. We know that alpha plus Fe3C is known as perlite. This is what is known as perlite. And this pro-eutectoid alpha. Pro-eutectoid alpha. Because this alpha is formed above this eutectoid temperature. So this is known as pro-eutectide ferrite or pro-eutectide alpha. Pro-eutectide alpha or ferrite. Pro-eutectide ferrite. So this is the way you can draw the microstructure when you take a given alloy and you heat it to a single phase region and then you cool it. Then you are supposed to tell how the microstructural development takes place when we cool the given alloy. Yes, as of now, any doubt? Yes? Anybody is having any doubt? Yes? You people slept or what?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is it?
No doubt, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So you just at this point you might be able to understand, but just try to practice it. Okay, try to see the video again and again, because at this point I have explained it very systematic way, so you don't have any doubt. But few days after it will become confusion. So it's better just see this video again and again, and then you just try to do the things by your own. Take this alloy and try to draw the microstructural development by cooling into a different region. Okay, so this is how we have taken the example of a alloy that is having 0.4% carbon, and then we have heated to a single phase region, and then we have cooled it, and then we have seen how the microstructure development takes place. So we are running short of time. It's already 12:08. So we will discuss the next of the things in the next class. I hope we are having the next class on Tuesday. Is it? Next class we are having on Tuesday, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Tuesday we will see. So if you don't have any doubt, so then can we stop here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, then take care. Bye bye. See you in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care.